falling back into you. I thought we'd be smarter, I got nothing left to lose. You said you fall with me, no matter how far it goes. Down deep and under, we're stuck in this pattern, but I need you close. All I ever wanted was for you to prove me wrong. You're changing our colors again and again. I could never let you go. Something about you feels so different, makes me wanna risk it. Every time I look at you, you pull me back into your river. Swim a little deeper, I don't need to breathe with my head underwater.
Hello, so I'm coming to you from our apartment here in Fort Myers. So we had to come down to turn in the keys and pick up a few things that we had left here in the apartment, because technically we couldn't break our lease early, which our lease doesn't end until October 31st. So we had to leave some things here, and we had to wait till later in the month excuse me, to come down and turn in the keys. But we had an interesting ride down because there is Tropical Storm Nestor that formed in the Gulf of Mexico this week. And as we came down, we left Georgia, we left Canton about 8:30 last night. And so we crossed into the Florida state line at 1 a.m. And at 1:10 a.m., pretty much the entire state of Florida was put into a tornado watch because of this tropical storm moving in. So last night we actually had to get off of Interstate 75 twice and seek shelter because we were literally being ran over by tornadoes. It was crazy. And this morning I saw some pictures of damage locally in some of the areas that we came through, so it's just unbelievable. But so anyway, we came down here to turn in the keys, and so now we're dodging the tropical storm and the tornadoes. The tornado watch just expired, so if you can see, it's sunny outside and beautiful now after being pounded with tornadoes all night. And then the tropical storm is actually supposed to move in across the Panhandle and South Georgia at like 8 p.m. tonight. So we're trying to hurry and get back on the road so that we can be north enough in Georgia to miss the tropical storm. So wish us luck. It's our last view of the pond. Goodbye, Fort Myers. Farewell. So here we are in middle Georgia, or South Georgia-ish, and we are driving into the backside of tornado number 4 for this weekend. So in less than 24 hours, Henry and I have managed to get ourselves tangled up into 4 tornadoes.
That's right. I've experienced my first, my second,
Ooh.
my third, and fixing to be my 4th one.
Your 4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, ain't it?
I've never even been around a tornado until you brought me down to this Florida place.
Some people say that I'm a natural disaster magnet.
And you got me, so.
That is true. Oh my gosh, it's been confirmed. I do attract natural disasters. And man-made disasters too. Look at that sky. Oh Lord. Woo. So anyway, we are moving at a balmy, what are we doing? 70 miles an hour. 72 miles an hour. Tracking north. And this Doppler indicated rotation tornado warned storm is just ahead of us on 75, tracking north at a blistering 5 miles an hour, which means that Speedy Gonzales here is about to run over a tornado. How's that for irony?
Fire with fire.
I guess because last night 3 of them ran over us. We're out for revenge. But the sky is eerie, and you can see a little bit of lightning going on up here. I expect pretty soon to be coming up on some gridlock traffic.
We're gonna see if this turbo underneath the hood can overtake this tornado.
Turbo Camaro. We're about to go all Reed Timmer and the Dominator in this Camaro, so we'll see how that goes.
Do you got gap insurance?
I don't think I do, so let's hold off. Let's hold off on doing that. So anyway, we're gonna just continue north and see what happens when we get there.
No.
To the side of me. Oh, I got some lighting in that time. So we took a minor detour in Cordele to try to let this storm pass a little and get some fuel. And when we got off the exit, we went to the right and all the power's out, but there's power off to the left. So we're gonna try to get some fuel, and I don't know what to do because everything's a mess down here because, oh, there's the missile. Oh, look. It's a missile. Anyway, everything's a mess down here in Cordele, Georgia. Flash flooding, and I guess the power out at some places. I guess everybody's getting gas over here because the power's out on the other side of town. So, oh, what have you done? And that was Henry.
There's the curb.
Drove over the curb in the Camaro. There's, no, that one's out. There's one. That one's out. That one right there, no, right in front of you. Okay, so we're gonna try to get gas now. And this Toyota decided they needed way more room.
They got a trailer.
Okay, they had a trailer. So anyway, we're gonna get fuel. Okay, so I am actually filming this in the shame closet, and that's because Ryan is up here trying to put the girls to sleep, and I feel so weird still talking to myself. But this is in regards to our trip to Florida and the severe weather that we encountered on the road. And you know me, it wouldn't be me if I wasn't giving you some kind of pro safety tip or talking about emergency preparedness. So that's what I'm about to do right now. So this weekend, when Henry and I were going to go down to Florida to do our final, like, clean out the apartment and turn in the keys, it turns out in the Gulf of Mexico, there was this little tropical storm brewing. Now, this tropical storm was supposed to come through the panhandle of Florida and across South Georgia, making its way back over to the eastern coast. So we knew that timing was going to be critical in when we left and when we came back, as far as trying to dodge the storm. So we initially were going to leave at like 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. Then the storm upgraded. Well, that's when it did upgrade to a tropical storm, and the timing of it was that it was supposed to be crossing that North Florida, South Georgia area around 8 a.m. Saturday. Okay, so if we left here at 3, that was going to put us like right at the state line, roughly around 8 a.m. So that wasn't going to work because we did not want to get caught in a tropical storm. So we decided to leave at 8:30 p.m. on Friday night, so that would get us down to Fort Myers before the storm was supposed to come through. Seems fair enough, only here's the thing. This was my error, and my error put us in jeopardy and could have gotten us killed, in all honesty. So we left here thinking, okay, the tropical storm is coming through at 8 a.m. We're coming through in the middle of the night. We're going to miss this storm. And we did dodge, you know, not coming through there at 8 a.m. But in all of my weather training and safety training, hurricanes cycle, you know, they circulate. So to the right of a hurricane, which is to the east of a hurricane, all this air that they're circling out always tends to like spawn off and cause tornadoes. Well, this was a tropical storm, so your girl didn't even think hurricane, oh, eastern band winds. No, we just went down there. So we hit the Florida state line at 1 a.m. Driving. At 1:10 a.m., my phone went off from one of my weather apps, and the entire state of Florida was just put under a tornado watch until 12 p.m. noon. Now here we are, just crossed the Florida state line, and we still had to go all the way down to the south part of Florida, because Fort Myers is like the last thing before Naples, which is the last thing before the Everglades, which is the end of Florida. So we had a problem. So we're driving, and we're trying to like get through this rain that's coming in, because we got in some really heavy rain. So the first thing we got into was a very heavy rain band. And I got extremely disoriented. I couldn't even tell if I was still in the road. And somehow, between trying to navigate, was I in the road? Was I off the road? Was I even in a lane? I managed to accidentally wind up in an exit lane and took an exit ramp. Didn't intend to do it, but I saw that as my sign to get off the exit ramp and get to a gas station under the awning, you know, the covering of the gas station, so that I could check the radar and kind of get my bearings, because I was completely disoriented. So when we got there, come to find out, we were under a tornado warning. So we sit there until it expired, figured out where it was, you know, like the area we were at. Then we decided to move on south. So as we're driving south, the phones went off, mine and Henry's both, with the emergency alert system, and it said tornado in your area, seek shelter now. And I said, well, this is not my, you know, my weather apps. This is an emergency alert system. We got to get off the road now. So I took the very first exit we could find, and it was raining so bad. So I took the very first exit we could find, and I was like, should we find a Publix? Should we find a grocery store? Should we find some kind of store to go into? No, we don't know where this storm is. We don't know where we are. There's always a gas station right off every exit of I-75. So I was like, let's just go right, get to the first station, at least get under the gas pumps, out of this rain, so we can look at the radar and see where we're at and see where it's at. So we got under the awning and we pulled it up, and I'm going to insert a picture because it showed the cone of where the tornado warning was, like the area of circulation. We were directly dead center of this area of circulation. We were literally directly under a tornado. Okay, so here we are at the gas station under the little pumps. So finally we sat there, that expired. Then we got on down, and I was like, oh my God, we have got to get to Fort Myers and at least get to the apartment so that we're in a safe place, because we have got to get off these roads, because this is twice now we've got caught in tornadoes. So we got to Fort Myers and we waited it out. We got there safely. And so we stayed to the next day. And so all these reports were coming, well, not the next day, because This is still technically Saturday morning. We left Friday night and I feel like we were gone for like days, but in all, we were gone about 26 hours, 26, 27 hours. But, so anyway, all these reports were coming in of all this damage. Cars mangled and rolled. And we did see cars like nose down in the ditch. We saw cars up on their sides, cars flipped over, cars in the guardrail. Like, we saw a lot of damage. And then all the pictures coming in from the news, we were seeing a lot more damage than what we saw just on the road. So that was some scary, crazy stuff. So we were in the tornado warning until noon. We got there at like 7:30 a.m. Saturday, so we were going to wait it out till noon. But we were checking when the actual storm was coming through, because it was supposed to be coming through Valdosta. So we wanted to be north of Valdosta when it came through. But we weren't getting back out on the road in Fort Myers until that tornado watch expired. So we stayed there till noon, and we actually wound up leaving from Fort Myers about 1 or 1:30. So we actually got north of Valdosta before the storm came through, which was great. But we got to a little town just north of Valdosta. It's like the next town north of Valdosta. It's called Tifton, and we stopped there to get an ice cream. Well, while we were there, you know, it had made landfall in the Panhandle and was kind of moving its way over. So we were north of it as it was moving across Valdosta, which was a little south of us. Great. But then again, circulation of these tropical systems, outer band winds. Okay, so as we got in the car from Tifton, driving north, as we got into Cordele, which is just a little town north of Tifton, which is like 2 towns north of where the actual tropical storm is moving through, we got caught in another tornado warning. Like, it was horrifying. So, again, we actually got caught in 3 tornadoes in our drive to Florida and back. It was crazy. So, this is my safety tip. Always, especially when you're going out of town, know your areas. Know where you're going. Know like what's around where you're at. Know what's kind of along the way. And if there's any threat of any kind of severe weather, like, know the threat, but know the potential threats. Like, I knew that we did not want to be in the actual tropical storm, but because it wasn't a hurricane, I never thought once to think, like, how far off the coast is the actual storm itself? How far, you know, I didn't think about the outer band winds. How far off the coast were they? How fast were they moving? What direction were they moving in? Because we found out from like just above, like around the Tampa Bay area, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, all the way down to Cape Coral, which is in Lee County where Fort Myers is, there were multiple tornadoes along the whole Gulf Coast. And we literally drove all the way down the state with all these tornadoes coming at us. It was crazy, it was dangerous, it was stupid, and I didn't pre-plan. I did not think ahead. So please use my horrible planning. And though I'm grateful, I mean, like, we saw a lot of damage and we saw a lot of wrecked cars, and I'm so grateful that we were okay through it all. But please, if nothing, use that as an excuse to remind yourself to always think of your potential dangers and think of places to take shelter. Like, both times I pulled off and got into a gas station and pulled under the gas pump's awning. Now, those things are made of like aluminum and sheet metal, and they're freestanding, which means those things are get shredded in high enough winds. Okay? So ideally, that is not the place that you want to take shelter in a tornado. If we had known the area, I could have looked for a bank. Try to look for a bank, because most banks, like the drive-thrus, are made of brick and mortar, which are whatever the building itself is made out of, and they're attached to the building. They're not freestanding. Usually they're not. So at least that's a little more structurally sound than the freestanding things at the gas pumps. But ideally, like a Publix, a Kroger, you know, getting inside a grocery store, like you want to get off the road, obviously. But if you can get inside a structure that's a little more safe, even if your only option, like us, was to just get off the interstate to a gas station, we should have gone in the gas station, because there's always interior rooms, a bathroom, a storage room. I mean, there's somewhere to seek shelter inside the gas station. Never stay outside in your car, ever. And don't park under the gas pump's covering, because it's not going to protect you. We were safe, but go through the Weather Channel, you know, look up videos of tornadoes at gas stations. Most of the time, those little coverings around the gas pumps do not survive tornadoes. And we just got really lucky. So always know your threats. Always know your potential threats. Always have a safety plan. And always know where to seek shelter. So this was our little trip. Tropical Storm Nestor. He really wrecked our trip to Florida and back. But we learned a lot of valuable lessons from it, and I hope that you can too. So thank you so much for watching, and have an absolutely amazing day.